Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for clicking on this here video and welcome back to the channel. Thanks for coming back. Hey, you came back. That's kind of cool. Or maybe this is your first time. If this is your first time, hello. I am Friar Parvagradus, and we're going to talk about my name, right? This is Parvagradus. This is the third part of my name, although it doesn't tend to appear, but hey, everyone needs a last name, right? Even if it's self-assigned. So yes, this is the third part in the Intro to Friar video series, and it is marked with a picture of steps. That is the first thing. That is the first clue. Steps. Steps. Important. So in this thrilling final installment of me talking about me, I want to explain the meaning of my magical surname, last name, and its application in my own life. So let's talk about it. Let's get into it. Like the YouTubers say, big goals. I believe that the ultimate purpose of esoteric spirituality is transcendence. I do. But along the way, the practitioner must also acknowledge the value of mundane earthly goals. Yes, I personally don't require Lambos and Gulfstream jets and a mansion at Lake Norman. Although if you do, you know, Esther Hicks said it's just as easy to manifest a castle as it is a button, so why not? However, but everyone needs basic accommodations, or at least a relatively safe environment within which to practice one's great work, for example. So if you don't have that, maybe that's something to shoot for. Similarly, it is difficult to contribute to the world if you are utterly and hopelessly hamstrung by unfortunate circumstances. To paraphrase Reverend Ike, you can't help the poor through your own impoverishment. Now, he didn't put it that way. Reverend Ike is far more charming than I am. But if you're a big fan of like manifestation peeps like Esther Hicks or Neville Goddard or Joseph Murphy, or whoever you like, Reverend Ike is actually a very charming choice, and he was unfortunately overlooked. So, pulling in some Reverend Ike here. Only you can determine the size of your needs or your goals, really. That's totally up to you. However, once identified, all goals, large or small, can be broken down into small actionable steps. Right. So, small steps, right? So here's ye oldie 9 of swords. And if you know, you know, think of this as, torment of the mind. And I'd say that Pixie did a pretty good job here of depicting it. And I must say, I dig the bed and the quilt. I'd love to have that quilt. Since I've had this experience, I might as well get the groovy quilt to go with it. So what are we talking about? Small steps, yes. Small steps. Because I am imbalanced in a way that causes me to overemphasize the mind and thoughts. Oh yes, this is very true. I have a tendency to live in my head. And why not, right? Part of that is a hypervigilance wherein I want to solve every problem I can think of before they can arise in order to keep me safe. The problem, of course, is that I'm the one generating the problems in my head instead of dealing with the problems that present themselves externally. Surely I'm not the only person who has this problem, but it's a big problem for me. So in order to preserve my own sanity, what there is of it, and not feed the fiery demons of anxiety that watch my every step, and they do, I came to realize that I really don't need a tremendous and all-encompassing master plan. It's enough to just accomplish the next step that presents itself in the physical world. This stops me from overwhelming myself into a 9 of Swords type of self-imposed hell, which honestly I was quite good at. And, if I don't watch myself, I can still do it. Gotta be in charge here, right? Gotta be in charge of the self. Gotta be the guardian of the gates of the temple, and all that. Got to be careful about where you shine the light of consciousness. So, due to the high importance of this realization, I appended the Latin Parvagradus, small step. Okay, Latin nerds. It would be Parvagradus. Yes, I know. I know. Small step to the end of my magical motto as a constant reminder of that particular methodology. And there's probably a better way to say small step, Latin nerds, but I like this. I think if I wanted to say small steps, it would be something like Parvagradi, which, sounds groovy in Italian, but small step. Okay, that's fine. Parvagradus. In conclusion, this is a quick one, gang. In conclusion, a magical motto is more than just a pseudonym. Although it's handy to have a pseudonym, I must say. It is a constant reminder of one's values, and as such should be chosen with some care. I realize that a 3-part series on my magical motto is perhaps a bit much. However, I wanted to include the relevant details without creating one gigantic INTP wall of words, which I used to do all the time. You know who likes gigantic INTP walls of words? Literally nobody. Actually, literally no one. It's a habit, and I watch myself again with the watching of the self. I'll fall into that, or someone will mention something. They'll mention something that I'm interested in, like a car. A type of car. Now that's dangerous because I started working on cars out of necessity when I was 14, 15. I am considerably older. We're talking decades of car enthusiasm, let's just say. Old cars in particular, old Fords mostly. But I just, had to really get into the car thing, and I was a supercar nerd. And so when someone mentions a particular car, I might just launch straight in without any kind of like niceties. Not hello, how are you? Oh, how nice. No, I'll go straight into like nerd town and talk about, oh, this vehicle, there's a couple things you really got to watch for, but if you do that, it's going to be a great car. And I just go on, talk about that stuff and the blah, and nobody cares. I'm the one that cares, and I'm the one that's just running my mouth. Because, you touched on a special interest of mine. Special interest. What does that imply? Yep, I think we know. So anywho, that was in itself a type of INTP wall of words, but it's something that I can do if I don't watch it. I get all my enthusiasm pours in that direction. So that's why I broke this up into 3 different videos. Because in theory, they're supposed to be shorter, right? So that I don't do that thing, which I kind of just did. Anywho, having read all this, what are your values? This is an important question. What are your values? And how would you transform them into a motto? And what language would you use? Like what groovy, magic-y language? Oh, my magical motto is be awesome all the time, but it's in Latin, or it's in Greek, or, it's in Sami. Let's just go exotic. So, but really the overall question is, who do you want to become? And look what I did. I put this here, tarot card, 10 of Pentacles. If you know, you know. It's really sort of the physical kingdom, or the results. You could just say results. That would be a very quick shorthand. Keep me from running my mouth. And then FPP. Look, 2 P's. And then my groovy little planetary hexagram. That's what it is. Artfully and skillfully done. Not necessarily, because it was done by me. It's fun. I did this and I didn't realize there's an arrow, like in the negative space, there's like this arrow pointing straight up. Pretty groovy. And naysayers would say, oh yeah, it's pointing straight to Saturn, you devil man. Okay. That's up for debate, I guess. But yes, here we go. Stairs. Look, the mystery revealed. Steps going to the temple. What could that mean? All right. Yes. Thank you for reading this with me, like Mr. Rogers, but different. And so we shall actually switch to. Oh, yes. This is the part where I promote my services. But in this case, I want to say this. I think I talked about one-on-one consulting before. It's sort of a catch-all service that I have. And the point of this, mentioning it again, is that this was something that was suggested that I do by a client, or potential client said, hey, do you do one-on-ones? And I did not at the time. And I thought, there's no reason that I shouldn't do one-on-ones. That sounds like a great idea. Let's do one-on-ones. So my one-on-one client is the person who suggested this. So you have them to thank. But I'm also, another reason I mention this is because, yes, you too can suggest a service, and I might make it happen for you. Given the state of the economy, shall we say, if we can even call it an economy anymore, maybe I could create something shorter and smaller to put on the calendar. I've thought about doing like mini follow-ups for people who like the deep listening work. That might be a cool thing to do. If any of my clients are listening to this, first of all, thank you. And second, if we get through the 12 days of Christmas, the 12 deep listening sessions, I had it set for 12. And you feel like you're not ready for like the next step, which is the coaching. But you kind of want little mini refreshers. We can do something like that maybe. I was also thinking about breaking out the realization piece into its own little mini thing. Those of you who've taken the deep listening know exactly what I'm talking about. And maybe that is valuable for other purposes, because it will relax you. It very nearly can put you to sleep, or in a pretty serious trance. If you are the type of person that goes into trance easily. I do have a client who I had to modify this because it was really kind of too powerful. And my client was just about gone. It was very hard to get responses. So, yes, the realization portion of the show that I do, which is, it's like pranayama and some relaxation exercises, it really works. So maybe I'll break that out. But anywho, that's enough of me running my face meets. So if anybody has any comments, questions, I usually do these as premieres. This is probably a premiere, and hopefully the audio issues have been solved. And that was a software issue, because my hardware is killer. Like, my hardware is really good. This is like old days when I was a recording nerd, and I bought some pretty decent equipment. So it was software, which is, I prefer software issues to hardware issues because they're much more easily and cheaply handled. So hopefully you can hear this better. You can hear all my like mush mouth Southern can't pronounce anything words, and you can hear the squeaky chair, and you can maybe hear the birds outside, and the neighbors with their industrial grade equipment doing stupid crap. It's great. Cheap living is it has its little quirks. So anyway, look, thanks for going the distance and listening to this whole stinking video, and I will be back with another one that does not involve my name, but is also somewhat foundational, fundamental. I'm trying to be methodical. I probably won't succeed, but I'd rather be somewhat more methodical for my own sake and for everyone's sake than to just wing random subjects out there. But that's, that may be inevitable. So anywho, have yourself a groovy day. Those who are in the chat, who are watching this premiere. Thank you very much. I hope you had lots of things to say, and I hope that everybody has a superdy-duperdy day. Thank you very much. So mote it be. Go make happy. All the good things. Thank you.